Today in the news, Nvidia cancels a mistake and AMD creates some massive confusion. What's up guys, I'm Snows, and this is your boot sequence. Let's get started with Nvidia. The company recently announced 3 GPUs, the RTX 4090, RTX 4080 16GB, and the RTX 4070. Sorry, I mean the 4080 12GB. And of course, when the specs were revealed, Nvidia got a lot of flack for the confusing naming scheme, the high price of entry, and the fact that the performance per dollar was all out of whack for the 4080s. So what does Nvidia do? Well, they cancel one of them. In a blog post released today, the company said that it's pressing the unlaunch button on the RTX 4080 12GB. Why? Well, let's take a look. The RTX 4080 12GB is a fantastic graphics card, but it's not named right. Having 2 GPUs with the 4080 designation is confusing. Wow. So Nvidia effectively managed to find the worst possible solution after launch and announces it on a random blog post? Anyways, here's what just happened. First, Nvidia made the price of entry of the RTX 4000 series even higher at $1,200. Second, now that there are no $900 cards that compete with a 3090 or 3090 Ti, well, those cards are now going to keep a higher price for a longer period of time. Heck, anything above a 3080 is going to keep a high price because of this move. Thirdly, they eliminated the second best choice in the RTX 4000 series. I don't know if you remember, but a couple of videos ago, I did some calculations to find out which RTX 4000 series had the best price per CUDA core. And the 4090 was number 1, the 4080 12GB number 2, and the 4080 16GB number 3. So yeah, even less value for your money. Not that these were value offerings anyways. Now, it's safe to assume that this GPU will be back with the 4070 or something naming scheme. I mean, it's literally a different GPU from the 4080 16GB. It has an AD104 chip, while the 16GB version has an AD103 chip. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see at what price this thing will actually launch. My theory is Nvidia is just waiting for AMD to make their move, and then they'll just release the 4070 to be priced according to whatever matches the performance of the RTX 4080 12GB, plus the RTX tax, of course. I mean, if AMD came out with a great GPU that had a way better price to performance ratio compared to the 4080 12GB or 16GB, and then Nvidia lowered the price of their cards, the customers that bought the 4000 series at a higher price would be pissed. So unlaunching now and releasing it at the competition's price point later is a smart move. Another theory is just that, well, Nvidia wanted to move the goalposts as much as possible. I mean, the 4080 12GB, which we all call the 4070, was 40+% more performance compared to the 3070, but it was also 40+% more money. So that's just a linear move. Anyways, at that point, I'm just theorizing. What are you guys' thoughts on this? Let me know down below. Speaking of Nvidia, the company just released a new driver that does something completely useless. You might have guessed it, they basically removed their light hash rate limiter, or LHR. So every RTX 30 series is now unlocked and ready to mine. Is what I would say if the miners hadn't already figured it out and unlocked it on all of the RTX 30 series GPUs this year. If you were curious, by the way, about the 4000 series, it's not very good at mining. The 4090 performs about the same as an RTX 3090 Ti. Then we have AMD in the news. If Nvidia said that their RTX 4000 series naming scheme was confusing, you're not ready for AMD's. If you're in the market for a notebook this year, you're gonna have to do some research. With the 5000 series of mobile chips, so last gen, AMD did something confusing too. They had both the Zen 2 and Zen 3 processors with the 5000 series naming. Like the 5800U was Zen 3, but the 57 was Zen 2. Then the 56 was Zen 3, etc., etc. At least you could kind of keep up. For the 7000 series though, so far we have 3 generations with wildly different performance. I would go as far as to say there's 4, although we only have confirmation of 3 right now. You'll have Mendocino, which is a lower tier of CPUs equipped with Zen 2 cores and weak RDNA 2 graphics, then Barcelo, which has Zen 3 cores but instead has the super old Vega graphics, and of course the new Zen 4 mobile chips, which have RDNA 3 graphics and they're coming probably early next year. The last one would be Zen 3 Plus, which was the Ryzen 6000 series. That's Zen 3 Plus cores with RDNA 2 graphics. All of them have the Ryzen 7000 naming scheme. It's just that the last digits will change. I mean, come on, AMD. I would have at least given the lower tier chips like Mendocino a 700 naming scheme instead of 7000. It's so wild that AMD sent this to reviewers, a literal wheel to figure out the naming scheme. I mean, it's pretty cool, but not everyone will have that while shopping for their, I don't know, kids' laptops. And trust me, you don't want to trust a Best Buy guy with that kind of information. No offense, I was that Best Buy guy. Anyways, guys, that is pretty much it for today's catch-up. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Drop a like if you liked it, a comment if you want to talk about today's stories. As usual, you can click right here to see the latest video, right here to subscribe to the channel. Stay frosty, my dudes, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.